This is oh, now we're starting? Okay. Hey everybody, I hope all is well. This is Rashad Gaines, chair of the Black Caucus of the Young Democrats of America. And tonight we have a very special guest, Miss Brandy Richard, who serves as the president of the National Urban League Young Professionals. How are you doing tonight, Brandy? Brandy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for being with us tonight. Hopefully, we'll have some more guests jump in later. But if not, I'm pretty sure Brandy is very capable of representing hashtag Black Women Lead on tonight. So we're going to get it started. Brandy, I first found out about the Black Women Lead movement, I want to say September of last year at Congressional Black Caucus, ALC in DC. And I have a button. I couldn't find it, but I do have a button. And I think I'm the only guy that actually posts with hashtag Black Women Lead on social media. I think I'm the only one that posts with it. But I love Black women and everything that they stand for and that they represent, not just in our community, but the history of Black America as well as the United States of America. Uh, Before we dive into this conversation, I want to encourage everyone to tweet or Facebook Brandy or myself. You can do that at Black Caucus YDA using the hashtag Black Women Lead and ask any questions that you may have during tonight's broadcast. Okay. So, Brandy, I'm going to let you start us off. There you go.
So, hello, and thank you so much for having me to participate in this conversation on behalf of the National Urban League Young Professionals, but also just because I'm a Black woman who happens to be a leader. They've given me the responsibility of leading them now for 2 terms, and so I'm really excited about the leadership role that I hold with the National Urban League, but I'm also really excited about other Black women in their communities. So I think this conversation is really important. I hope it's a good, real conversation. I hope people ask real questions. And I'm really looking forward to diving into the discussion. So you can tweet me directly at Brandy Richard, and I'll also answer whatever questions that Randy gives me to answer.
They
So
won't be
let's
off.
go.
They won't be horribly off the wall. So
Well,
let's.
hey, that's what we're here for.
They'll be a little off, but not horribly off the wall. So I guess the first question I would ask is, where do you stand, um, understanding everything that we're dealing with currently as Black Americans in the United States of America, which is a blight on, I guess, progress in America, because you have a group of people who have decided that they do not want to see America continue to go in the direction that I would say is inclusive or progressive. You have a group of people who are determined to
Mhm.
take us back. So, with that being said, understanding what we're dealing with in light of having an African American in the seat of president, do you feel that America is ready to have a female president in the seat of commander in chief?
I believe that America is ready to collectively to have a female president in the seat of commander in chief. Um, in light of what's going on in the country around having an African American commander in chief, I think it's going to be a struggle for the first woman, just like it's a struggle for the first African American president, to lead in a space where people will just allow them to lead without necessarily being concerned about their quote unquote minority status. I think what we've seen across the country is that people say that they're progressive and they say that they are for allowing anyone and everyone of various statuses to lead, but then once they get in the seat, they retreat back to their biases about people. And I think it won't be any different for the first woman president. And I think that person will really have to have some tough skin, and be able to go into that role in a way and in a space that will hopefully allow future women presidents to come behind her. So I think we're ready, but it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Okay, Clinton or Warren?
I those women, actually. I actually like both of them. You're not going to get me on that one.
Really, Brandy? Really? So that's what we're doing?
I do. I think they both have different qualities to bring to the leadership table. I think if Hillary Clinton decides to put her name in the hat, which of course everyone just assumes that she's going to do, that she will have a formidable campaign engine behind her, and she has a lot of experience, I believe, behind her. But I believe that Warren is just a smart chick. Like, she is just so she would be a formidable candidate herself. So yeah, I couldn't pick between those on the spot. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm not
ballot box.
I'm not gonna even be mad at you about that. So let's say in 15 years, you and I will both be in our 40s.
Mm-hmm.
First black female president.
Ooh, first black female president. You mean it won't be Olivia Pope? Not at all.
I love Kerry Washington, but no, that's not gonna happen. I can see Kerry being a senator, but no, I don't see her being the president.
You know, and this most probably would not be a popular thought on the Young Dems, whatever. You know, I'm in a nonpartisan organization. So what about Condoleezza Rice?
So
What
I lived in Birmingham for a little bit. So after moving to Birmingham and getting the full understanding, because everything in Black history is not simple. So getting the full understanding, learning her story, learning that, she should have been one of the 4 girls that were bombed in the church on that Saturday, or Sunday, when I believe it was a Saturday, in preparation for Sunday. I honestly believe that the hand of God is on her life. I attend church, that's no secret. But I believe that the hand of God is on Condoleezza's life. I do not think that she would be a horrible president. Now, I personally take issue with the fact that she is a Republican. I'm just going to put that out there. But I believe that she's a very intelligent woman. She's a very skillful, well-prepared woman. She thinks before she speaks. She thinks before she acts, and her character is in alignment with what we would need in a president. So I don't believe that would be a horrible position. I would just hope that the first black female president, if we're able to have one in America, would be a Democrat. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
But you did pull out some of the reasons and the things that I would think would make her a great president if she were to be one. So that's the type of African woman president that I would like to see. What about Michelle Obama? She would be amazing.
So I'm not
about Democrats.
I'm not completely against that, but I don't personally know how I feel about having people from the same family constantly in the White House. Like, I'm gonna be honest about that. I don't really know how I feel about that just yet. But I personally love Michelle Robinson Obama, so I don't really have a problem with that in real life.
America loves Michelle Robinson Obama, and there are a couple of Bushes in the White House pantheon. So whatever.
Well, let's just be glad that we done with them. So praise Jesus.
I lived in Texas. Bushes are not that bad. Let me just say that.
And I believe it. And I believe. My computer's finally on, Brandy. So now we're cooking with grease for real. Okay. So now I'm back to the real. Now we cooking. Okay, let's do this, Brandy. Now I get it off the phone.
It's in mute.
All right, Brandy, can you hear me?
I can.
You can? You
Yes.
cannot. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, because I can't hear you. But it's my fault. We're going to work it out. Oh, probably because my volume off. There we go. Okay, we are here. Okay, Brandy, next question. So, Kamala Harris in California.
Uh-huh.
Kamala Harris, um, Mia Love in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Two high profile women in the movement right now, both on opposite sides of the aisle, both bringing two completely different viewpoints and practices to the political forefront. Go.
I believe that we need that. And I believe that as women, we are different and unique and have different perspectives to bring to the table. And I believe we should have African American female leaders on both sides of the aisle, advocating for different types of issues and positions based on what's important to us. I mean, we're multifaceted. All Black women aren't one side of the aisle, and all Black women don't like specific things. And so I think it's great. I think it's great that we have more diversity in party, but I also think that it's great that we have more younger Black women who are leading for us. And this is something that I think is very important. I may differ with people on their policy issues, right? Like, I don't believe that women's right to choose should be infringed upon. Personally, that's my opinion. I may differ with someone on a policy issue, but that doesn't mean that I don't have respect for them as a woman, and especially as an African American woman who is attempting to lead and succeed in this country. And so I would offer any of them the same respect, even though we may disagree on a policy issue.
Okay, so I guess this is my issue with Mia Love, because I don't think there's anything wrong with Mia being a Republican. I just personally don't like it. Excuse me, Representative Love. I want to give her respect.
Mm-hmm.
This is my issue. I have an issue when Black people put our differences on blast in front of mainstream America, because, and I may be wrong when I say this, but I'm not privy to a lot of situations where other ethnic groups have done that. So I found it problematic that before Representative Love was even installed in office, you're in Utah talking smack. I'm going to D.C. to dismantle the CBC, and I'm blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, a rove is not even a rove, but have we a rove to the point where it's okay for us to do things of that nature? And I'm from South Carolina. We have Tim Scott in office. Very grateful that he hasn't embarrassed us, and that he's actually doing really great work. And he and Corey, Senator Booker, are doing good things together. But when he first got put in position, his first press conference was, "I'm going to D.C. to check Obama and blah 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 blah." I don't really know if I can get down. Like, I understand the party lines. I understand that we toe a line in politics, but at the end of the day, you know what you're looking at when you look in the mirror. And are we at a place, or have we gotten to the place in society where it's okay for Black people to tear each other down like that?
It absolutely isn't okay, but that doesn't mean that people aren't going to do it. And unfortunately, I think more of this is about political spin than whether or not she really appreciates and approves of the CBC, because if it hadn't been for the CBC, she would not be where she is today, more than likely. So I think that we've gotten into an age where the sound right and what people quickly, without additional information, have to say about certain things is what is carried through the news. I'd be interested in having a sit-down conversation with her about CBC and its efficacy and whether or not she would be involved or what have you. I'm of a mind that she's not, but I'd like to have the conversation with her before I would cast judgment, because otherwise I'm doing the same thing that they're doing, talking about African American institutions in public, saying that They are not worthy because they don't agree with me. And I just don't believe that we have arisen or arrived to the point that we're able to do that as a people. Yeah, we're not there yet. And even if we were there, it would be detrimental to the fabric of African Americans. And I think that's the thing that we need to address, because I think we're supposed to talk about race and some other stuff. Like that's what's causing us issue.
So, Merriam-Webster, please add a row to the next edition of the dictionary, and y'all can have that one. I wouldn't even try to target it. Y'all go ahead and y'all can have that one. I wouldn't even trademark it. Y'all can have it. I like a row. You like a row too, don't you, Brandon? I know you do. I saw you smile. Y'all know you like.
I like a ribbon. A ribbon sounds like a risen or something. A ribbon, you cooking with grease on that one.
Okay, because I like fish, so you gotta have your grease hot. Okay, now my next question for you. Let's move into the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think it's very important for us to not tear down social constructs in our community when we don't have all of the information. But two things: Black lives really do matter, just like books and albums, and clothes and food and everything else. Black lives really do matter, but I'm not necessarily a fan of the framework of the quote unquote movement, because I'm not of the personal belief that any one group will ever well represent the African American community, like in its total end all be all. Like, we've moved past the days. Again, 100 years ago, yes, the NAACP was that mechanism for us, but the Black community is so different now. Times really have changed. Our goals and dreams and needs are just different. So no one group will actually represent the masses in its totality. Would you agree with that?
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because we have organizations like the National Urban League, like the NAACP, that have been in our communities building opportunities for African Americans for over 100 years, both of them. And even though as the forefront of the organization or the platform that the organization shares with the larger community, it may not always look like it has everyone's interest at heart, but there are individuals inside of those organizations that represent, I would say, every interest in the Black community across this country. And so all of us are in those organizations working to ensure that those organizations continue to espouse what we believe in. And so to say that they don't have that, they do have it. It's just, does the mouthpiece necessarily have it? Or are we hearing all of the inner workings of the organization when someone gets to the microphone and says, this is what the NAACP believes in, this is what the National Urban League believes in on this day, on this issue? And I think as leaders of movements, as young leaders of movements, I think we have to respect those people who have been put in place in leadership in those organizations. And I think we have to respect the process to come up with whatever the policy initiative or plan is for those organizations. Also believe that there's a space for people to create their own. So if for some reason you don't think that organization is moving fast enough, or you don't believe that your issues are being addressed, like with the Black Lives Matter movement, I think it's completely within people's rights, and I believe that we should be advocating on behalf of our issues for you to create your own. I think the problem is that we create something and then it doesn't have that breadth and reach and influence of those larger organizations. And so you have these people running around, well, I believe in this and I'm going to do this. And you're like, okay, well, where's your backup? Like, who's going to be there when you're not? Because there's only two of y'all.
Right.
And so I think those types of organizations don't necessarily have the breadth to continue on with the movement. I think they can, but it has to be built and it has to be strategized. And those are some of the things that I've been able to learn by being in a long-standing movement. And hopefully they have those tools too to be able to continue to talk about these issues, because I'm not hearing the same conversation about Black men and women dying in the street anymore, because somebody had to go back to work, somebody had to go back and do, you know, school or whatever it was that they were doing. And there are still some very vocal individuals on these issues, but where's the longevity of it if there's no real strategy behind it? And that's the thing that I'm concerned about. Doesn't mean it's not there, but that's the thing that I'm concerned about.
Well, I don't disagree with any of that. I was just kind of confused because honestly, I didn't know that, you know, hashtag Black Lives Matter was a organization or a movement. I was under the impression that, you know, it was a social media blitz that we were using to kind of streamline thoughts and get everyone encouraged and in the know. But I wasn't actually made aware that there was an actual organization until we were all in Selma together a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
I
they
do.
Clowned and acted out.
Say it again?
No, they clowned and acted fool in Selma.
Yeah, they did, and which is why I have an issue.
So, right. Which is part of the concern. Like, there's one thing to say I believe in something different. There's something else to say that I'm going to disrupt the president's speech. There's something else to say that I'm going to call Reverend Al Sharpton, who's been doing this work for years and years and years, out on the fact that I don't think that he's doing it right. Well, boo, you just came to the party. And yes, you have an opportunity to have an opinion, to do something different, but at the same time, are you showing respect to our African American leaders? Like, would it have been better to pull him to the side or to have a conversation? I'm just positing and wondering if it makes sense to jump on the stage at the rally that I was at earlier this year and grab the mic from someone. Like, to me, there's decent and in order.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not decent and in order.
No, it's not, and it definitely doesn't make those of us who are, because understanding that in business and in politics, I'm kind of over the conversation of, you know, you have to pay your dues, but you really do have to pay your dues, and B, there's a way you come in so that you can stay in. If you're brought in through the back, amen. If you're brought in through the back door, you might be escorted and thrown out the front door. If you come in correctly, you may be able to stay there a little bit longer. That's all I'm saying. So what I would love to see, actually, and maybe you and I and a couple of our other colleagues in this new, what I call, social justice movement, as we transition from civil rights into mainstream social justice, maybe we can have, you know, a summit, a gathering of the minds. I know every year President Obama has all of the civil rights leaders from like 60, 70 civil rights organizations come together and do some type of, you know, empowerment summit to address civil rights in our community. Maybe it's time for us to have that for our demographic, and bring in all of the young presidents and vice presidents from the different organizations that are out there, and we come up with an agenda for the young Black Americans, as well as kind of bring in an honor code and some things. I think it's time for that, because all of us are randomly meeting at places, and it's kind of time for us to come together, pool resources, and actually get some real work done.
I absolutely agree. Last year in Selma, before Selma was necessarily cool, we had a young professional leaders convening in Selma with leaders that we could put our hands on and bring together to talk about the issues that were important to us. We did a survey to get input from other leaders and members of our organizations to find out what top issues were important to us, and then decided that we were going to slowly move to act on that, which is one of the reasons why we started work on student loan debt, because that was an issue that was really important to all of us. But we do need that. We absolutely need that, because what's happening right now, I just don't think is sustainable. If it is sustainable, it will shock me, and I will be really happy. But I really want younger people, millennials in particular, to take the reins, because it's their civil rights movement. It's their
Right.
advocacy agenda that needs to be pushed moving forward. I completely agree, but you have to do it in a way that will actually create some change. And I'm not seeing that yet.
Well, I don't disagree with you. Which is what I love talking. Why I love talking about this stuff, because I don't disagree with anything. So what? I guess what my first question would be: what's the first, like, coming together? There always has to be an action item, because we don't want anyone to feel like they wasted their time, or we don't want egos to flare up. What would the first step be, or what's the first action that we take as a group? Let's say we meet in 6 months. I don't know if where's your national convention at?
Ours is in Florida, in Fort
What?
Lauderdale in July.
Okay, and the Young Dems, our national convention is in Los Angeles, August 18th through 22nd. So I'm perfectly fine. I have the liberty to host this in LA at our national convention. Brandon, if you want to do it, I'm fine with that. I love Fort Lauderdale. I see you there. But so either one, y'all let us know where y'all want to do this at, LA or Fort Lauderdale. We're fine with either one. But
Both sound great.
Yeah. So coming out of, so let's say we've had the meeting, coming out of this summit, what's the first step? Like, what step do we take as the leaders of the young Black progressive movement? What is the first step that we take? What is our first action item?
You have to create the rubric or the strategic plan of what it is that you're going to do. So whether it's a 4-point agenda, a 2-point agenda, a 1-point-a-year agenda, whatever we decide it should be, understanding what our collective focus will be the first. If that can be an outcome of the meeting and then a next step to publish that, I think that would be critical, because not everybody's going to be at the meeting. You're going to have other young professional organizations that will need to hear about it and decide if that's something that they're interested in supporting, because I think you have to take 1 or 2 issues at a time. You can't tackle them all at once.
Okay, let's change gears a little bit. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that you're not married.
No.
Okay, so you're not married. I'm assuming that you're not a mother right now. I'm assuming that. I don't know.
I am a mother.
Okay, great. Even that makes this even better. Okay, young Black boys and young Black girls getting shot down in the street like animals. How does that personally make you feel as not just a young Black woman in politics, but a mother as well? How is your drive any different because you're a mother? Like, does that add fuel to the fire? Because I know what I deal with, and I know the emotions that I deal with as a Black man when I'm watching the news and I'm seeing these things happening. As a matter of fact, Anthony Hill, the young man a few weeks ago who got killed in DeKalb County in Atlanta, Georgia, I went to college with him at the University of South Carolina. So I know Tony. And so I know what I deal with. I know what my emotions are. But how is that different for you? And I don't have any children. I'm not a father. So how is that different for you as a mother?
My daughter is everything. Like, she is what will continue on this earth when I'm gone. And to even think about someone murdering her for no reason in the street is just unfathomable to me. And so, we have a policy where we just don't talk about those types of things, because those things should not happen to my child. But we do talk about, like, ways that she can protect herself. And we talked about ways that she can protect herself since she was fairly young. And my daughter is about to graduate from high school this year. And so if you think about the thought process of bringing a child into this world, raising them, making sure that they get to school every day, making sure that they have lunch money opportunities to go on field trips and do all of these things, taking them to church and teaching them right from wrong, and just investing your life into a child, and that child being killed in the street. I don't care who does it. I don't care what their thought process is for doing it. Like, our child's lives are so important because all of us have something to give to this earth. And every last one of those children and young people who have been killed in the streets, their opportunity to give back has been snuffed out, all because someone didn't think that they were valuable enough. And I think that's the important part about the hashtag Black Lives Matter. But it's really that I don't care if you're poor. I don't care if you don't look like anything today. I don't care if you're strung out on drugs, living on the streets, what have you. Your life is important. And I think that's the part that we're missing in this whole conversation, because we really, we have these, how can I describe it? It's like, if I've gone to school, then I'm a certain type of a person. Right. If I have good character, I'm a certain type of person. If somebody can vouch for me who has been accomplished in some level or in some way, then I'm a certain type of person. And we rank people. And because we rank them, you can even be ranked as a single parent. Like, I've had to endure that. So people just assume that I'm a certain way because I had a kid when I was younger, right? Not knowing whether I was married or not, or what the situation was. But the point is, we're all ranked. And so then when someone is killed and they smoked marijuana yesterday, it's okay to kill them. If somebody is killed and they, robbed a store 2 weeks ago, then it's okay to kill them. No, it's not okay to kill anybody, because everybody's lives are important. Right. And everybody's lives have value. So that's how I feel about that from a mother's perspective. That's how I feel.
I don't think that's the rhetoric that we're hearing. I'm a firm believer that we have to start internalizing these things to get the maximum value out of it. I haven't heard, other than now there's, I call them the League of Super Moms. I have to give people terms in my head. That's when I can deal with a lot of stuff. But Trayvon Martin's mother and Michael Brown's mother, and they had Eric Garner's mom in Selma, and to see this lady, I'm assuming she's in her 60s or 70s, crying out, the same as these women who are in their 30s and early 40s about their children being, and again, I don't have any children, but I'm pretty sure if something happened to me now, my mom would scream just as loud if it had happened to me when I was 15, 5, or an infant. And I don't think people are really conceptualizing that this is somebody's child. This is really somebody's child. I don't think people are, when people are saying, they're thinking, oh, these young thugs. They're not thinking that this is somebody's child. And I think that helps bring the point home a little bit deeper. And it helps connect to the psyche and to the heart of a person, and not just the party rhetoric and the hateful triflingisms that people are letting regulate their lives. I make up words all the time, Brandy. Don't even.
But I see it's marginalization of people, of humans, and it's not okay. And you can typically do it very easily if you are not affiliated with those humans. So I think we separate ourselves a lot in this country. So all the white people over here, all the black people over here, all the Hispanics over there, there's not as much commingling as we think occurs. And so it's very easy to say, well, you should just pull yourselves up by your bootstraps if you have no friends, no experiences with African Americans. And I think that's part of the problem. So when I see politicians, or when I see people in leadership and all of their friends look a certain way, that clues me to what potentially could be going on with them, because I just think that you have to be able to be open to all types of cultures and all types of people in order to lead all types of cultures and all types of people. Period. Point blank.
Let's switch gears a little bit, Brandy, because I want our viewers to start crying. I know they've been a little deep in conversation. Who's the hottest power couple right now?
Barack and Michelle.
Really?
Barack
Not
and
Jay,
Michelle.
not Hove and Beezus?
You know, people have been hating on B for a little while. I love Beyonce. Let's just be clear. I really do. But, you know, when you get too famous and you sing Let It See song at the awards, then people start hating on you and you no longer the hottest power couple.
I'm gonna say this, and I am, because I already know they're gonna come for me when I say this, but y'all know I don't care, so don't even try me. I am a fan of the Grammy-winning Ledisi, okay? Because Ledisi has won many Grammys in her own right. I'm a fan of all the naturalistas and the neo soul movement. I love that music. It's so sultry, from the heart. You know, it's like church and the club all at the same time, and everybody loves church and the club, especially if you can get them at the same time. Amen. Now,
Church, the club, and like something for your soul, like Black
all
Power.
that,
You get that too.
all in that.
All that in there.
All that together at one time. So I'm down for all of that. But I listened to the soundtrack, and Beyonce and Ledisi, neither one of them did the song right. They should have left it to Mahalia. Some things you just don't touch. I'm telling you, I'm a great cook. Okay, I am a wonderful cook. I'm an awesome cook. But there's some things you leave alone. Like my grandma banana pudding. I don't mess with it. That's pearls. Now I can do everything else. Some things you have to leave. Some things you got to leave for the old folks.
Somebody got to be able to make the bread pudding and the banana pudding after grandma and grandpa are gone. Like, come on now. So I think that Ledisi did a great job on the song. It moved me to tears when I watched the movie. Honestly, it did.
That's because you was watching the movie. Now, if you listen to that song right now, you would not cry. Now, the movie is one thing because it was different, and you know we be all in our feelings when we watching the Black History stuff. You know how it is, but you know good and well.
Ledisi is my girl. Beyonce is off the chain. I got my whole little B hat and all that kind of stuff. So I ain't talking about no sisters today. We talking about Black women lead and lead women lead. That's what we talking about. All of our sisters together. We're putting all of this pettiness behind us, and we are going to be successful as sisters.
Amen, and I think that's beautiful. So my favorite power couple right now, of course we love the Obamas, but my favorite power couple right now are the Patricks.
The Patricks?
Governor Deval Patrick? Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, see, nobody pays them any attention. They slide under the radar. They slide under the radar.
Black love, period, is just off the chain to me. Like, I want everyone to find their somebody.
Governor Deval and First Lady Diane Patrick. Yeah, they slide under the radar. They look good together. She's the epitome of class in real life. But nobody pays them any attention. But that's the new hotness right there.
I'm looking for my modern day Diana Ross and Billy D. That's what I want.
Who is gonna be that?
That's what I want.
Is Idris married right now?
I don't know, but that's
because I can see Idris as a new Billy D. Say it again.
I think he's with like the mother of his child. Oh, they are cute.
Talking about Deval and Diane?
Yeah, they are cute.
They're beautiful together.
Yeah, Deval and Diane.
Yeah, beautiful family. Just beautiful. I love I love seeing her work a room quietly. Um, and she's just so she's I don't know. I love them together. I love her for him. And then the thing I love about these this is the difference about these black political wives that you're not seeing in a lot of other arenas. Um, they're just as decorated, if not more decorated, than their husbands.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
not. It's not like
And they have to be.
yeah, and it's not like
But they
these.
have to be. They have to be in order to support.
Say it again, Brandy.
Go ahead.
No, say that again. I didn't
They
hear you.
have to be. They have to be in order to support. They have to be in order to support them in a way where they will be able to be successful. Like that, it's almost part of what's necessary for them to be successful. In fact, whoever I end up with is that's gonna be like a serious power couple. Just so you know, it will be. Just FYI. Is that what we do?
Oh, I'm gonna be at that reception. Oh, I'm I'm starting that let you slide at that, buddy. Believe that. As I already know you're gonna put me on the guest list. I'm crashing. You don't gotta worry about it. I'm crashing. You don't gotta worry about it. But I think it's interesting.
There because we have talked about this wedding.
I think it's interesting. You um look at the plight of a young black political who rises Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Dartmouth, Cornell, through the Ivy League, and becomes president of the United States. Then you look, from very poor means, very humble means, or very humble beginnings, and then you see that of a athlete or entertainer, and their wives are, randoms, the trophies, the one who might have got pregnant, somebody looking for a come up, and then you look at Barack Obama, he got Michelle, who
All lives matter. But all lives matter.
all lives do matter. But what I'm saying is, you see a difference in a Michelle Robinson Obama and a Diane Patrick than some of these NFL, NBA wives. And I'm not hating on anybody, but I'm just saying, same story, same background, two different industries, but look at the match that they have. Look at their mate. Michelle ain't going nowhere.
I think in the political arena, it's very important to have someone who can bring certain skills to the table and can help you to advance. And Michelle has helped Barack to advance. We all know that. And I'm sure it's the same thing with Deval and Diane and other individuals who are then successful. And I'm not saying that football players' wives don't help them to advance. I don't want that on my, people tweeting me about somebody's mama. But the point is, I think in the political arena, even more so, you have to have that in order to be successful. I mean, men are still attracted to women by what they look like, right? Like, that has not changed.
Unfortunately,
that's just part of it.
Unfortunately, that hasn't changed. Yeah. But I think it'll change one day, hopefully. You think it'll change one day?
When their daddies tell them something different. But now we're talking about the family and the fact that we need to have families that stay together, that teach their kids how to be better and to do other things. Somebody sent me a question about Black women between the age of 18 and 25 becoming financially independent.
Yes, they want us to get back. Yeah, I was about to ask you. I guess they want us to get back to. and we appreciate it. Go ahead, Randy. That question is for you. What can Black women between the age of 18 to 25 do to become financially independent, other than marry a baller?
Oh, that is like the absolute worst thing to do. Not saying that marrying somebody isn't a good thing. Like pooling resources, I think is excellent if both of you guys are financially stable. But not getting in the credit card, declining all of those cards that they try to give you in college. If you're talking about 18 to 25, some of those young women are in college and are just taking out credit cards to get clothes, go out to the club, and then they don't have any money and they've spent all their student loans. Be frugal with your loan that you get. Is you're going to be responsible for that in the future. And so making sure that only using what you absolutely need and not using it to go on vacation or spring break or again buy more clothes, get that high, or put some money, if you do make money or you are able to live with your family, put money aside while you live with your family. A lot of people don't do that. They just stay at home, don't pay any bills, and then they leave, and then they don't have. So that's another tip. Live below your means. That's for. I'll leave it at that. Like don't spend up to everything that you have. And this is coming from a recovering shopaholic, person who used a lot of student loans that didn't need to use that much in student loans. Like I'm talking from experience. I'm not telling you what I don't know. I'm telling you what I know. So don't do it.
As you were talking, I was thinking, I was like, "Ooh, how much loan money did I use buy me an outfit in
It never
August?
goes away.
Buy me an outfit in
It never
August for
goes away.
homecoming in November. I was getting because I already knew I was gonna be broke in October, so I had to go ahead and get my homecoming outfit and be ready for this step show, or buying an outfit for a probate, and I wasn't even crossing. Like, so anyway, I'm sorry. I yeah, ladies, please listen to Big Sister Brandy over here. She's giving you some solid stuff. she's giving you some solid stuff. Okay, so moving along, as we prepare to close, this sermon's gonna have lots of closing. Um, what would be your advice to that 12-year-old girl who everyone keeps telling she's gonna be somebody, but maybe her home life doesn't lend her the confidence that is completely true, and she thinks that the people at church are just crazy. So, what would your advice be to her right now?
So I was a 12-year-old girl before, a long time ago, and I came from a really great house, and so my family was interested in my success, interested in me being successful moving forward, and really pushed me to do that. But along the way, some things happened. I made some choices that put me in the same situation, I'm sure, as a lot of young ladies, just based on the choices that I made. And I think that it's really important to know that regardless of if you have a great family at home, or you make bad decisions or bad choices, or someone abuses you or hurts you, or anything along those lines, please, please, please just continue to work and push and don't give up. Like when it's the darkest around you, that's when the light is right around the corner. And a lot of times people give up when it's super duper dark and they never get to see that light. And I'm a witness that is the time that you need to get in your word if you believe in God. Seek out counselors or people who can support you. outside of the family, because sometimes the people in your family are the main ones that will drag you down in the dirt and mud, so that you can be successful. It's never over, and it's never too late. Whether you made a bad choice or someone hurt you or did something to you, it's never too late to turn your life around immediately, and say, I want something different, and to move in that direction. And no one can hold your past against you or say that you're not worthy of being successful, because someone told you you were successful for a reason. I remember those good mothers in the church told my mama that I was destined for greatness. And she fooled around and told me that. And so all my life, I held on to that one thing that somebody at the church house said, that I was destined for greatness. So if somebody tells you that you're going to be something someday, hold on to that for dear life until you can figure it out for yourself and have a thought that you will be successful on your own.
That's beautiful, Brandy. What is your advice to young black men right now?
Oh, y'all need to get it together. Y'all need to get it together. I love black men. Let me be clear. I don't hate on black men. I absolutely love you guys. I embrace you. I think you're strong and that you are going to take us to success. But part of, like, I'm thankful I have a daughter, because if I had a son and I was doting on that poor boy, he would not be any good for any woman later on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Okay.
Oh, I got it. I got you.
I think that we're in a where our sons don't have the same male training that they need or that they had before. And therefore, they're not leading our households and our families in the way that they could. And beyond that, women who marry them, who are girlfriends of theirs, are not in a position to tell them what to do. Like, men don't get tutelage from women. It don't work. It just doesn't. Men need to be trained to be men by men. Period, point blank, end of story. And so if they're not in the household, they're not gonna get that. And then when they get to be older, when they're in this young professional and millennial space where they need to be marrying people and taking care of families, they don't have all of the tools. Yeah. So I just think it's important for some of our strong older dudes, men, to help to train up the rest of them.
Okay, so again, don't disagree with you.
And this is, but let me just add this. This is not about whether or not you go to prison or whether or not you have a certain paying job. This is across all spectrums. So if you go to prison and you have a daddy that told you how to treat a lady and how to take care of a family and what to do to be a man, then you will behave in that fashion when you get out, right?
That's right.
But if you didn't, then you won't, and nobody can teach you that when you get out. So this isn't about economics or the prison pipeline.
So I don't disagree with you, which is really interesting.
You disagree with me?
No, I don't. I want to, but I don't. I just want to because it's my show, and I got to disagree with people on my show. But so I'll say this: like, being a product of a broken household or divided household, and my father not being in the house, I know extremely like how real those points you're making are. I just know how I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, and and maybe when I sit down beside King Jesus and me and him talking on the banks of the river, we'll have this conversation, and he'll tell me that, Rashad, I had you, you were fine. But I just personally feel that there are areas in my life that would have been enhanced had my father wanted to be in my life. Not just my father being in my life, my father wanting to be in my life, my father wanting to be a father. There are a lot of people who have their dads, and their dads don't want them. Their dads don't want to be around. So, I sometimes feel like, I was better off because my dad wasn't there and he didn't want to be there. So maybe, I can sit here and say I was never abused. I was never beaten on by my father. I don't have all of those daddy issues, but I got a whole nother set of daddy issues. I got the daddy issue that, I had a big problem with male authority in schools. All of my teachers, hey, Ariana, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for
Sorry,
joining us.
Figured it out towards the end of it. I seen the whole conversation, but I just got the invitation to join in.
Well, we still love you.
we getting deep right now. I need him to finish.
I just jumped in y'all little philosophical conversation. Like,
it's okay. We gonna let you get one in. But I know that there are some areas in my life where, like when I was at school, I was a super defiant. Now, if a woman told me to sit down, Rashad, sit down, I would sit down. But oh God, not my gym coach. Couldn't stay on the sports team because I was that defiant. Like, I had made up in my mind that no man was gonna tell me anything because my daddy wasn't there. I remember the first time our school resource, in South Carolina, we have a police officer in every high school. And I remember once he told me to shut up. I don't know what he did that for. Well, I started cussing and swinging and acting a complete fool. He was like, Rashad, he knew my family. He's like, Rashad, if you curse again, I'm going to arrest you. Take me to jail. Y'all remember that? Lock me up. Don't let it. Y'all remember, I forgot what show that was on, but y'all. So I just know that there are personally in my own personal life, and I know that there are a lot of young black men who can identify, or a lot of young black people, period, women as well, who didn't have both parents in their life, and maybe God had a reason that person wasn't in your life because it saved you from some other things. But there are some things that I was exposed to that I shouldn't have been exposed to at an early age. I was a very wise child. Most of us who are doing this kind of work, we were all wise kids. We just knew a lot and exposed to a lot at an early age. And maybe if my father had been in my life and wanted to be in my life, there are some things that I wouldn't have got into, some things I wouldn't have done, some people I wouldn't have connected with, some situations that I wouldn't have gotten into. So I don't disagree with you. Being a product, I honestly will say this. I think my mom did a great job with me. She had a lot of help. I'm definitely the village child, from the members of my church to the members of our community, my teachers, coaches, everything. There are a lot of people who in my hometown, they can take a lot of pride in the young man that I've become because they all helped. They have all helped. They helped Angie get Rashad to this point. But it wasn't easy for them, because when you have a child who feels like no one loves them, because if the person who created you doesn't want to be a part of your life or doesn't want to embrace you, you walk around feeling like everybody else is bogus, because if you don't and you're supposed to, what makes this person who doesn't have to? So I definitely can agree with you there. It takes a lot to raise a child, especially in today's society. My heart goes out to black women who have to play both mom and dad, to black women who have to, be the single parent and the only parent. My heart goes out to them, because there are a lot of people who co-parent well, but there are a lot of us who don't know what the co is in co-parenting. So my heart goes out to them. My prayer is that we get to a place where we don't have to deal with that anymore, that people actually step up to their responsibilities. One thing that my auntie, one of my cousins, said to one of my cousins, when he got a girl pregnant when we were younger, she said, well, she can be your baby mama, but that doesn't mean she got to be your wife. Which was interesting to me, because my family is a deep church family. So for someone in our family to tell another person in the family that they didn't have to marry the person that they got pregnant, it was just like it was mind blowing. But they were a very problematic couple. Like, everyone saw that it wasn't going to work out. He's still a father to his children, and they're not ruining each other's lives. either. But I think that came because he wanted to be there. He wanted to do the right thing. And sometimes doing the right thing isn't what society deems as the right thing. I think it's kind of ludicrous to force 16 and 17-year-olds to get married. They're still kids. I think that's kind of ludicrous. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all ladies jump in because y'all may think differently than I do. So please jump back in.
I mean, I think you're. Go ahead.
I agree with what you said because I know a few people who have, had children in high school. I'm 24 years old, so I remember high school like it was yesterday. And I remember a few of my peers in school. They had children in high school, and I do agree with you on that regard that children, I mean, well, teens should still be allowed to have their own goals and not be, I guess, boggled down by what tradition says. Because if you're boggled down with what tradition says, you don't get to experience a lot of, other things. Because I feel like a lot of my friends who had children, if they got married, a lot of them wouldn't have been able to go to college, and a lot of them wouldn't be able to get degrees and just live the life that they're living. Like a friend of mine, she was pregnant with her son, but then she ended up being the class valedictorian, and then she went on to college, and then she became a teacher, and now she's married with two more children. I don't think she would have been able to do that if she was married, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, I think going back to the original conversation just about men in general, I agree with you. I don't think that everyone has that, right? And so when they don't have a man in the family who cares and wants to be there and instruct them in the way that they need to be instructed, you pick up from that. Like you start from wherever you are. Like I'm adopted. So my dad left, and he had been gone for so many years in my life that I was able to be adopted by my stepdad because he hadn't shown up. Like that's like in his duties he was as a father. But then later on, I got married and had a daughter, and then got divorced. Well, my daughter has been in a situation where she hasn't had both parents in the household. And that's really been a sore point for me because I know what it meant to me as a young person for a period not to have my dad in the household. And I know generationally and mentally and spiritually and emotionally what it could do to her, right? Not to have that person in the house with her all the time. Granted, he's in her life, but he's not with her all the time. And so I know what it looks like, and I know that the best way is for two people to get married and decide they're going to have some kids and both be vested in their lives. But when it doesn't happen, I just think that people have to pick up the pieces and go to counseling if they need to, and get mentors who are older than them and male or female to give them direction if necessary, so that they can get those things that they need to be as successful as they possibly can be in their lives. Because what I a whole lot of people who are broken in our communities and they don't address it, and then they just break up everybody else that they come in contact with, whether it's in relationship or at work or what have you, because they haven't gotten themselves together. And so that's what you have to do regardless of what happens to you.
I don't disagree with you. Hurt people, and there are a lot of hurt people running around here, and it's really funny. A lot of them are in leadership positions. That's that's a whole other conversation. Y'all gonna have to come back and we'll talk about healing agents and soothing for the soul in the Black community. So y'all come back next month and we'll do that. Okay? Make sure you come back. And this time I tell people to be on board, so we won't have all the technical difficulties getting started. But there are a lot of hurt people out there, and hurt people do hurt other people. I just know for me, I was a very angry kid. Like, my name is Randy Gaines Jr., and I found out shortly after I turned 16, right before I turned 17, But right after I turned 16, I found out that Randy Gaines Sr. wasn't my biological father. And then I met my biological father right before I turned 17. And it was kind of made clear to me that he didn't want to be in my life. So everything that I had dealt with before, double. Because now it's two. You get what I'm saying? It's one for it to be one, but now it's two. And then my stepfather, my mom married a guy when I was younger, because she wanted me to have a dad. And I honestly believe my mama married this man because she wanted me to have a father. I don't believe that she really wanted to be with him, but I believe she wanted me to have a father. But he had a child of his own that he wasn't taking care of. So what makes you think that he wanted to be bothered with me? So now that's three. So and again, I believe that when I sit down with King Jesus at the banks of the river, and I'm in my robe dressed in white, I believe that he will tell me.
Let's pray right now. Right now. Let's lay hands in the name of Jesus. Because that's serious.
It's a lot.
Serious.
It's a lot. And I believe that he's going to tell me that he had me. And I thank God, my godparents, my godfather was awesome. My uncles, my great uncles were amazing. My god brother is exactly 18 years older than me, and I look at him like a father. He and my mom are the same age. I look at him like a father. And my grandfather wasn't there. My grandfather was, out doing his thing, running women, drugs, whatever. Grandma had to put him out so she could keep peace in the house. It's just a crazy situation, and I thank God that I'm able to talk about those things now, because there's once a time in my life where I couldn't.
Right.
And I've overcome them. My family has overcome them. So hopefully I won't be getting any text messages in a little bit telling me I put all the family business out there in the street. But it is what it is, and it's a part of my story.
Right.
Yeah, it's very prevalent.
Somebody else. Yeah. You're helping to deliver somebody.
So I just think that it's very timely for this conversation, because one thing that I had to learn two things. I had to let my anger become fuel, so they gave me energy to do whatever it is in life that I'm supposed to do. Because I can't take my frustrations out on my dad and my father and my stepfather failing me on the rest of the world. It's not helping me get anywhere in life, because I'll be blackballed and won't be able to get a job, won't be able to take care of myself, because I'm an angry black man, a walking time bomb that nobody's going to want in their organization, nobody's going to want on their clock, collecting their salary. So I had to get me together before I was detrimental to myself. And if I'm detrimental to myself, how many people am I not reaching? How many people am I failing? What communities won't be changed because I couldn't keep it together for me? I couldn't deal with my issues. I chair the Black Caucus for the Young Democrats of America. I get to travel this country and meet with people old and young, political, apolitical, non-political, can't spell politics, and I get to affect the voting habits of people and affect the impact policy in communities. How would I be able to do that if I didn't get myself together and deal with my own pain?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't take your personal issues from your childhood, your teenage years, your young adult life in college. You can't take that stuff and ruin somebody else's life with, or ruin somebody else's day. And I think that that's what a lot of hurt people do. They're hurt, so they want other people to hurt. One thing that I've never understood, I was watching a documentary, and it really bothered me. It was about like the psyche of men who rape people. And one of the guys watching on the documentary, he said, well, I was touched when I was a child. And his goal in life is now to inflict that same pain on other people. Even though it wasn't that situation, if I'm taking my issues out on you, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm no different from that rapist who wants to rape and molest other people. So I was like, oh no, we can't do that. I can't even be considered in the same category as this person. And I had to deal with me so that I can go and do what I'm supposed to do in life. And I think that that's what a lot of people are missing. And I know for me, I know it was my daddy issues. I know that was what it was for me. For someone else, it could be something different.
Ultimately, I think it's important for us to understand forgiveness, and be able to not only forgive the people that we feel like did something to us, but also be able to forgive ourselves for the part that we played in it. And that, to me, that's the starting point. Like, that's the starting point to be able to even go to get help, or to go and have a conversation with a mentor, or to ask somebody to support you as you're walking through getting better and being a better person. Because when you do that, you're kind of having to slough off some old behaviors and some old stuff and some people that may not need to be in your space anymore. And that journey takes one or two really trusted friends to be able to walk you through it. Even if one of those friends is just Jesus, that's part of it. But I completely agree with you that we have to work on our own stuff so that we're not out here inflicting pain on other people, whether it's positions or where it's just in our day-to-day walk. I had a conversation to kind of pull this into girls. I had a conversation with some young women who were very angry about other young women and what they wore. They were like, oh, this girl didn't wear a slip, and oh, this girl didn't look like this, and she was trashy, and this and that and the third. And I said, oh,
I'm sorry, Brandy.
okay, we have opinions
still,
about.
Brandy, they still make slips.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I wasn't trying to make y'all laugh. I was confused when you said. I was like, they still make those? I'm sorry. Go back to being serious. I'm sorry, Brandy.
They make Spanx too. The Spanx work just as well. But the point is, they were so concerned about the actions of their friends, right? Or the people who are in school and stuff like that with them. But they said it was because they felt like they should act like a young lady, and they were concerned about them because they were putting themselves out there and all that kind of stuff. But I asked them, I was like, is it really that? Or is it that you feel like you're competing for the same guys and they have a leg up because they didn't wear pantyhose and a slip and you wore pantyhose and a slip?
You're doing too much.
Or is it because you're really just jealous of this individual or something along those lines? And people, I don't think as young women we're being honest with ourselves about the fact that there's this whole competition thing going on, and that we don't necessarily feel comfortable with ourselves, and so we kind of project that onto other people, acting as though we're so concerned about their welfare and their best interests. I don't think any of them were really concerned about the welfare of these other young ladies. I think they were more concerned about being in competition. And so we had a real conversation about that. And I explained to them that in order for them to be able to have those conversations with other young ladies, they had to show them that they were vested and concerned about them and that they cared about them. You can't have conversations with people that don't believe that you care about them on some level. So yeah.
Okay, so this has lasted a little bit over an hour. It's supposed to last an hour, but it was great. I enjoyed it. Y'all are both gonna have to come back. So let's wrap up and give updates of what everybody's doing. So everyone, this is Ariana Johnson. She is a blogger for Dear Ida Speaks, and she is the vice president of the Northeast chapter of the Ohio Black Young Democrats. So welcome, Ariana. I'll just give everybody an update of what's going on with your blog and the Ohio Black Young Dems.
Well, Dear Ida, we're in the process of revamping the blog. I will be writing a blog every month, hopefully. I'm trying to get a lot of things together in my personal life, which is causing my blogging life to just suffer. And so I'm trying to get back on track with that. As far as the Northeast Ohio chapter of the Ohio Young Black Democrats, On Saturday, if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, we are going to be marching in the 10,000 for a brighter tomorrow, which is a march in response to the Black Lives Matter movement and the Tamir Rice shooting, as far and the Tanisha Anderson police brutality situation, as well as the Melissa Williams police brutality situation that ended in 137 shots in an area in Cleveland called East Cleveland. So we will be participating in that, in addition to revamping the voter registration drives that we will be having at a urban clothing store called Villa in the late spring and early summer. And yeah, so that's what's going on in my world. I'm blogging and trying to revamp, get everything together with the Northeast Ohio chapter of the Ohio Young Black Democrats. So if anybody's interested, just hit me up about more updates at Dear Ida Speaks on Twitter or my Facebook page at Dear Ida.
Now, what's your contact information for the Ohio Black Young Dems?
My contact information, you can go on Facebook at the Northeast Ohio chapter of the Ohio Young Black Democrats. And then you can go on Twitter, and it's just at NEOOYBD.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Ariana.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And everyone, the illustrious, the beautiful president of the National Urban League Young Professionals. So before I even let her give us some updates, please check out brandyrichards.com. She is the young professional advocate. Beautiful website. She has a lot going on. She's doing some really great work around the nation. And I am so privileged that her chief of staff, Ms. Carmela, helped us make sure that she was here, as well as the fact that she took the invitation and she did not say, oh, just email me and I'll get to it, or, call me and then give me a random voicemail that's like a Google Voice account or all this crazy mess that people doing when they think they're important. So anyway, Brandy, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go ahead and give updates on Urban League and what's going on with you and all that good stuff.
Thank you so much, Rashad. And this has been a bright spot for my Sunday afternoon after watching Game of Thrones marathon this afternoon. So the National Urban League Young Professionals is a great organization to join and participate in. You can find out more information about joining the organization at wegotnow.co. wegotnow.co. If you're interested in joining, it'll give you a list of all of the different chapters that are open to you around the country where you can get engaged and involved. Also follow the National Urban League Young Professionals at NULYP. You can follow me at Brandy Richard, BRANDIRICHARD. And I do have a Facebook profile page, and I'm really trying to get to 1,000 likes, so I would love for you to like my public profile page. But that's what's going on with us. We have some service events coming up with STEM in April. We just left our legislative policy conference where we stormed the Hill and talked about issues that are important to the African American community. But we're constantly doing great stuff, so please just continue to follow us, and we will get you involved in the league.
Okay, and I'm Rashad Gaines, founder and chairman of the Black Caucus of the Young Democrats of America. Want to invite you to Richmond, Virginia, May 15th through 17th. We will celebrate. Oh, while we're talking about Black Women League, before we get out of here, where's my mind at? So the Young Democrats of America currently has Atima Amara, who's the first African-American president of the organization and the first African-American woman to be president of the Young Democrats of America. So we're very grateful to have her. We also celebrate Natasha McKenzie, who was the first African-American and African-American woman to be president of the College Democrats of America. And it was interesting that they both came in at around the same time. So very grateful for them. And we just recently celebrated the outgoing of the first DNC woman to be African-American for the Young Democrats of America, Monica Talmadge, out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So YDA is making some great leaps and bounds on that front. But again, I want to invite you to Richmond, Virginia, May 15th through 17th for our quarterly meeting on that Saturday morning around 9 a.m. We're going to do a breakfast panel, intergenerational conversation very similar to this conversation, have a few different folks. And if either of you, Brandy or Miss Ariana, if you just happen to show up in Richmond that weekend and I see you, I'll definitely throw you on the panel. But we have some great people that are going to be there. So make sure you come, and it's going to be great. We're also going to do a social on that Saturday night, a Seersucker and Sundress social. It's going to be beautiful. I know. It's going to be hot. And I already got my Seersucker pants. They're pink.
I like Seersucker.
So I'll see y'all there. Then also, the Black Caucus is supposed to be going to Detroit the weekend after Father's Day. I want to say that's the weekend of June 26th, doing an empowerment summit there. So we'll have information coming out about that. Brandy, if that happens, we're going to be sending Carmela an invitation for you. And lastly, our national convention will be August 18th through 22nd at the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, California. We'd love for you all to be there, come out, support, learn a little bit more about the Young Democrats of America, and help us keep the presidency and take back the Senate and the House. So it's time to get geared up for that. Lastly, Brandy and I actually are very serious about this summit with the young leaders of the social justice movement. So for those of you who are listening, if you get wind of this conversation and you listen to it, you can tweet me at the RRG Complex or at Black Caucus YDA. You can tweet Brandy at Brandy Richard or NULYP, and we'll get to our hands. If you all are interested in sitting down with us, we'd love to have you. And again, y'all tell us where y'all want to go. We can go to Fort Lauderdale in July, or you can come to LA in August, or we need to have a special meeting and everybody wants to go to DC, we can go to DC in September at CBC. It doesn't matter. We'll have space and opportunity for us to get together and create an agenda for the rest of the Black progressive movement. So as far as it pertains to millennials and young people. Is that fair to say, Brandy? You second? You with it? Are you okay with that? Okay, so Brandy and I are going to take the lead on this. We're going to make it happen because I think it's time for us to get it together. But anyway, again, everyone, thank you. Please like us on Facebook at Black Caucus YDA. Follow us on Twitter at Black Caucus YDA, as well as on YouTube. And that is it. Again, Ariana and Brandy, thank you so much for taking time to have engaging conversation and crack jokes with me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you all again. And the next conversation that we'll have will be in April. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but if y'all want to come back, let us know. And we'll make sure it's a good conversation, okay? Deuces. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great night.
You too. Bye.